All right, family, we are live. Welcome to another show. I hope all is well. Today I got my man Esmond MIA in the building and Karan in the building, both presently in Medellin. Esmond, MIA, one more time, man. What's the MIA for again, brother?
My international adventures.
Okay, I like that because every time I always say missing in action. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's kind of like the same. It kind of be kind of like the same little, play on words to a certain degree because you are missing from America. So,
Right.
you know. Yeah, man. And Karan, welcome to the show as well, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so the title of the show today, guys, is Medellin still working in 2026? I know a lot of people have been reading the headlines and everything like that about guys being denied entry, guys being maybe drugged at a higher rate than before. And a lot of people are kind of asking, like, okay, is Medellin still that city as it used to be, let's just say 5-6 years ago when I first visited, that's what we're here to talk about today, man. So I'll start with you, Esme MIA. You out there, man, is it still, a delightful city to be in? Is it still energetic, still fun? Or are they kind of looking at foreigners a certain way?
Well, it has changed, not as drastically as a lot of social media puts it as, but as far as how the locals are looking at some of the gringos, expats, see some of the looks because they're starting to generalize a little bit. You're hearing these stories about some of the pedophiles getting caught and some just getting deported as soon as they get here. So they start to have a mentality for like, oh, they just coming out here to mess with minors and just do drugs and the whole nine. Now I don't have anything to do with that, obviously. And I've been coming here long enough to know I have a lot of local friends that know what I'm about, know what I'm out here doing and all that good stuff. So I don't really have that same worry as some newcomers that may come out here that don't know. But as far as the changes that have affected me, is maybe Karan can agree the peso to the dollar has changed, obviously. When I first came out here, it was just about a little over 5,000 peso to one. And that's when it was, you can go out with $50 and have the time of your life. So that has went down tremendously. I think it's like a little
30 now.
Yeah, so that, like I said, that's a big jump in that 4-year time span. But I don't really go out to the major touristy spots anymore, but I hear from some cats that I know, like maybe some family members that's been out here that go out there for the first time, and some people that still stay out here to go out there. They say that the police are still they're cracking down on some of the loitering going on. So if you're out there just sitting in one spot with your phone out in your hand, trying to just cat calling all night, they're gonna tell you just to keep it moving, and that keep it moving is kind of like a warning. So if they find you doing it again, I don't know what happens next. Maybe a ban from the area, but they're cracking down on people just standing around trying to grab numbers all night.
Okay, so hold on. Are you saying that you can be on like Calle Diaz or something and just kind of like just hanging out, having a beer or something, and they can the police can put you to the side and say, hey, what are you doing? And
I think it's area Pacific. Like I said, I haven't been out there in a while. I have a homie of mine that just stepped out just to have a beer the other night, and I think he thought himself having some small talk with someone. And the police came up to him and asked him to, just to kind of just keep it flowing instead of just chill. So I don't know. Karan has more input on that. Like I said,
no, I saw a couple of people got in some situations like that. Like one specifically, there was this guy, a friend of ours, a friend of mine. She was standing out in Poblado with him. But because you're standing with a female who appears to be soliciting sex or intimacy, for want of a better word, the police will automatically assume that there's some sort of exchange, some sort of transaction happening. So what happens is they walk up to them and say either you keep moving or they ask them for the ID. So what happened with this guy, the police asked for ID. She gave him the ID. She got a ticket because they know her as a freelancer down there in Poblado. And what happened is the guy didn't want to pay the money. So they took him back to the Airbnb. He packed his bags and he had to go straight back to the airport.
Hold on, Crow. So what you mean pay the money? The cops asked him for money?
The cops asked him for some money. And
What?
because he didn't want to pay it, I think it was like $300-400. And because he didn't want to pay it, they took him back to the Airbnb, had him pack his bags straight to the airport.
So is that USD or pesos?
USD.
300 to 400 USD. That is crazy, bro.
No, there's a lot of
that is crazy.
There's a lot of different things that happened. I was in the airport a couple months ago, and I ran into this young black man coming out of the airport. So I stopped him to ask him if the line was long on the inside, because I was waiting for somebody. He said, yeah, the line's a little bit long, but I took a little longer because they pulled me out of the line. I was like, they pulled you out of the line? He said, yeah, they pulled him out the line, asked him for his phone, came back to him and said, hey, we saw some pornography in your phone, in your pictures and your video items. So now you have to pay a fee of $300. He said, but I don't have any pornography in my phone. He said, no, sir, this is not up for debate. It's either you pay the $300 now or you jet back to wherever you came from. So obviously he already paid it. He paid it because he already paid for his Airbnb, the flight, everything. So it was, it was a no-brainer. But he was just taken back by that. And I had a conversation with him right outside of the airport when that just happened. So I got it word for word, straight from the horse's mouth.
Do you think this is being applied to all foreigners or just brothers?
Well, from what he was saying, he said he felt as though he was targeted because he was in a group of people. Now, to specify it to race, I don't want to be that flagrant and say it like that, but he said it seems to be a common trend with groups. If you're coming with a group of men, they usually assume, different types of agendas when it's a group of men between certain ages. So he was between that age and that group, and therefore he got shuttled out just as one person randomly. The rest of them, there was 4 of them. The other 3 came out about 20 minutes later, and they were like, they didn't get called in, but he did.
That's crazy, bro. I mean, things have definitely changed since I first went to Medellin in 2019. Yeah. That is crazy. Esme, have you experienced anything crazy like that, or heard about anything crazy of that sort?
Not to that extent. Like I said, I took a little break from the last time I was here, and things can change real quick out here. So that was new news to me. Like I said, I heard about, and this is from a personal friend, a friend of mine that I personally know, telling me about how the cop just told him to keep it moving. But I didn't know about how they're targeting, not to say certain groups, but groups in particular.
Groups, yeah.
Back to what I said, because of things that's happened in the past, and this happens anywhere in the world, people will start to generalize.
Yep.
If this one group did it, with this next group I see is going to be in the same thing that they were.
Right.
And that's just the world we live in. But I didn't know it was getting that crazy down there.
Yeah.
I've been there in some time,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now I want to go back to something real quick. Y'all was saying that the U.S. dollar is on the decline out there, right? Is that what you were mentioning? Okay, so is that affecting like the prices of like rent to a certain degree? Like, so if you were paying rent, let's just say last year, how much has it went up? $40, $50, maybe more, $100 more?
So I'll give you an example. Last month I paid rent when the dollar was like, I think it was like 3,500 or something like that, and my rent was $950. I paid rent for this month. It was $1,100 because the dollar went down to $2,800.
Damn.
That difference made my rent change because of the change. So I had to pay $1,100 this month versus $950 last month.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember I was dealing with that even back in 2023 when my rent was like $800 one month, then they'd be like $850 the next month. And I was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? But the exchange rate is so crazy out there.
The exchange rate. That's what it is.
I hear that. I don't have to really experience that. Obviously, I have my own property here now, so my property's gone up in value due to the change.
Right.
So you're on the other end of it.
Right. When I was paying rent, shit, $100. I mean, a year and a half ago, I wasn't spending no more than $1,000 for a decent spot in a nice area. Now, out of curiosity, I have recently looked on like the booking.coms and Expedias just to see if there's a difference. And they've gone up roughly about them same like spots that I was getting, $500 or so. So that 1,000 turned to 13 to 1,500 on average now. So.
You know, I think it's something going across South America in general, man. Rio is super expensive right now. I know I had an apartment in 2020 in Patio Bonito. I don't know if you guys know where that's at. It's like at the bottom of the hill on Diaz. It's like all the way down. I don't know if you know where the Old Sweet Georgia. Did y'all ever go to Old Sweet Georgia?
Yeah, by the Old Sweet Georgia, it's down at the bottom there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in that area right there.
Around there.
Right, exactly. Yeah, a little further down from Manila. But my apartment was like 600 back then. It was 2-bedroom, by the way, right? Walking distance to the park and everything like that. And now that same apartment is like $1,600. Wow. This is like in a 4-year time period. I couldn't believe it. Let me catch the super chat real quick, man. I got some more questions for you guys. Ethan Abroad, with the Colombian pesos to 4,000. I really appreciate that, brother. He says my rent was $400 last year. Now it is $460. Okay. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. That's super chat. Now, let me ask you guys this, man. Is it like, I know when I first moved to Medellin in 2020, the locals were real, like, welcoming to me. They're very friendly. I met a lot of friends out there. I remember I had a lady, it was a bodega at the bottom of my building, and the lady spoke English, and she just, like, welcomed me in like an auntie or something like that. Is that vibe still there? Like, is the vibe still there where the locals, like, are welcoming foreigners in, or has that vibe totally changed?
You go ahead, Desmond.
I think that depends on the foreigner. Not to say they're looking at a certain skin tone, but they're more so the action of that particular person. What I love about the Colombian people is when it comes down to, they're not like the States are known, like I said, to just put everyone in one, you know what I'm saying, one group. They're very, very friendly for the most part. To answer your question, I have not experienced any of that. I know how I carry myself. I'm just, you know, I got a certain energy about myself where it's kind of hard to hate me. You know what I mean? I've learned the language over the years. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you mean you saying in a positive way? You seem positive.
Yeah, positive.
Okay.
Here, but like, and this goes back after 4 years of staying here on average 6 months a year, you naturally start to know the locals. I know a lot of Colombian people that have not stepped outside of Colombia before, and some of them speak English, and a lot that don't. You know, we still can communicate, obviously, and they'll tell me that there are some people that they despise, and it's the people that come up with their head up high and very, you know, arrogant. Right. And they want to, you know, act like the world's theirs here. And it's, you know, you have to respect any country you go to, but Colombia is one that you don't want to disrespect, because the last thing you want is a bad reputation out here. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's just, like I said, it just depends on the person. I don't think they're just looking at someone saying, hey, black guy here, let's not like him, because you know, they'll actually get to know you and make an assessment after that.
Okay. And Karan, let me ask you this, man. You mentioned, you know, how much your rent was. I know there's been like a lot of foreign gentrification out there, whereas a lot of the locals can't afford to live in certain spots like Poblado and everything like that. Have you felt any like pushback, you know, by you being in like, you know, these areas or anything like that, and you being a foreigner? Because I've seen different videos about them saying the foreigners are gentrifying, like, you know, the spots in Medellin, like Poblado.
I wouldn't say that too much, you know, because when they say that, people look at it from a very microscopic perspective, because they might be talking about 2 streets when they got like 2,000 streets. And that concentrated 2 streets, which might be full up with a bunch of gringos, they'll say, oh my God, it's overrun with gringos. But it's really just 2 streets. You walk past those 2 streets, it's super local. You know, Colombia, you know, from what I've heard, you know, from people who've lived here for a long period of time, and they said Colombia is, within the last 5 years since COVID, has just gotten new to foreigners. Foreigners only just started coming here, the influx, especially Americans. Like, most Americans just started traveling like in 2020 when COVID hit. You know, or before that, they were just swallowing up all of the gobble about red zone this, red zone that. Only now that people are starting to open up and travel. So it's kind of still new. So when people talk, they're talking from a very narrow, bottled-in perspective, not the true general statistical view. Because I like to deal in stats, quantifiable outcome, things that have numbers, because emotions can't give you accuracy. Most people talk in emotion. Oh, I walked down the road and the lady didn't say nothing to me. Well, you don't speak Spanish first, and number two, you wasn't even looking at her. So how you expect her to talk to you? And then they'll go and rant about that with the emotions. You know, I call it first world emotions, because when you have first world emotions, certain things mean something to you that a third world is nothing to them. And I could say that because I lived 21 years in my life in Trinidad. Then I went on scholarship to the United States in America. So I kind of have half and half. I'm 46 now. So I have a good blend of perspectives where it comes from in terms of economic, socioeconomic thresholds. I've been on both sides of the fence. So, you know, I understand when, you know, somebody said, oh, she always begging me for money, or he always begging me for money. Well, they're poor. You never live poor like that. You ever earned 200 US a month and let your whole family survive for the next 10 years? No. So it's a perspective thing that makes people, that stimulates the mouth to say some inaccurate stuff.
Okay, so, that's a good point.
As my perspective.
I want to ask you this, man. As far as the safety is concerned, do you feel safe in Medellin right now?
I feel safe if I go in safe places. If I don't go in a safe place, then I'm not safe. Same thing if I'm in LA, I'm not going in Skid Road or Compton and talk about, oh, it's not safe here. Well, why the hell did you go to Compton in the first place? Don't go there. Don't go to Skid Road. Don't go Poke and Bean projects in Miami. If I go Miramar, you know, downtown Miami, Brickell, you know, if I go in Poblado, you're going to feel safe. And then, you know, the one or two robberies that happen, let me say this, the one or two robberies or few robberies that happen that gets, you know.
Hey, what's that? Who feedback is that? Dang.
I don't know. That gets plastered across the net. People forget that, yes, people get drugged here in Colombia with the Dragon's Breath. But guess what? I live in Miami too. And my homeboy 2 years ago got the same drug in Miami right there in Brickell. And another person, and another person. People be getting drugged. Date rape been going on all since the last 20 years. How long ago we've been hearing about people date raping people, all them people dropping something inside of your stuff. So to make it look as if Colombia is the first place in the whole world to come and just drug somebody on a date rape, as if that's new, is kind of false. You know, it's kind of skewing the truth of things, because it's not true.
It's creating that fear mongering. And you know, online I get laughed at all the time when I say just what Quran said in so many words. This is not some new phenomenon. And okay, say if it was. Okay, how many people are coming to Medellin on a daily? I got in 6 days? Well, I got in about a week ago, and this is the longest I ever stood in migration. And you had families. I saw kids, people of all nationalities. It wasn't just the passport bros, as they say. And I waited in line for 2 hours, and this was on a Wednesday, 9:00 p.m. You know what I mean? If it was that bad out here, knowing that Medellin is still party town, that don't mean you gotta engage with women and drugs. It's still every day can feel like a Friday night in some parts out here, because they always got the loud music, like La 70. Random Monday night. Your first time here, you would think it was a major event going on. It's just a normal Monday night, though, right? So you can have a good time, party, you know, whatever. You would hear the point I'm trying to make. If it was that bad with the druggings, robbings, and the tourists getting targeted and all that, as many tourists that come here on a daily, wouldn't you hear so many more stories on a daily, if not at least a weekly? You know, it's not as bad as people are making it seem. And I'm not trying to say that because it's not as bad, that it's not bad here. Yes, it's like I'm from Memphis. There's some parts in my 41, almost 42 years of age would not step foot in, because I just know better. Just like at a certain age, you know what where you shouldn't be at, and you know where you may be safe at, and you should be smart enough to know to always control your liquor, go in groups if you are trying to explore a new area, befriend some locals. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, simple travel etiquette. You know what I mean? So not to answer your question. I feel safe 90+% of the time, but when I first got here, I ain't gonna lie, I was wilding out. I didn't know nobody. I was staying right off Yosemite, so it was just hard to go to sleep at night. If you ever stay off Yosemite, you're gonna feel like your walls are vibrating every single night. So I will go out, and then remember it was so much cheaper back then. So I literally could go out $20 to $30 and buy a bottle and meet so many people, and then before you know it, I'm in the middle of, not to say nowhere, but I'm kind of off the track on where my hotel is. Like I've had some nights where I was like, I shouldn't do this again. Even though I made it home, it's just not smart, because just because you got away with it one time don't mean that you're immune to it. You know what I mean? So you just gotta, just like anywhere in the world, man. It's just some countries you just gotta be a little bit more careful than others. That's all. Because I don't have the same, concerns when I'm in Thailand, obviously, but I still had that concern. You know what I mean? Because you never know. No one's invincible out here to crime. So I feel like the police out here are doing a good job stepping it up as far as security and all that goes. Yeah, especially the touristy spots. And that's where you don't want the most security at, because that's where most of us hang out at.
And I feel like to add to that, the security presence is pretty strong. Like on Calle 70 in Poblado, you always see in green and blue always, or green and blue somewhere. Yeah, and a motorcycle passing and groups walking. So the police presence is pretty prominent out there, I would say.
I'm more scared of the police. I'm more scared of the police at times, and what I mean by that is they have random checkpoints. I've been involved in maybe 4 or 5 in the 4 years I've been coming here, and there were 2 times where we had to kind of cough up some money. And at this time I didn't want to try to plead my case or try to start quoting law to them. I'm in a country I don't know anybody or know the laws and policies on this stuff. But that's my biggest concern, that I don't run into a corrupt police. That's about it.
You know what's so funny, man? I had some of my guys from what country are they from? I think it was Ecuador, but I met them in the States a while back. We used to travel to DR and all that shit. And we had went out one night. 2 of them. We had went out one night, and then it was my driver, taking us out. So it's my driver and everything. So Colombian guy, 2 guys from Ecuador, and we run into, like you say, a checkpoint, like a random checkpoint. They pull us over, and they find weed on one of the guys. So I'm sitting here nervous as hell now. I'm like, you just got here. Where you get the weed from? You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even know anybody had some. And they talking Spanish so fast, I can't even pick none of it up. And they're blaming like my driver, like it's my driver like rode through the checkpoint on purpose. And I'm like, nah, he wouldn't do that. He ain't that type. I just called him like right before y'all even came, so he didn't even know where we was going, anything like that. Make a long story short, they brought the dudes out for a little cash, and we rode on. So it's like a disadvantage and an advantage, because if we was in America, guess what? We all going to jail, right? More or less. Well, we used to. I think now Atlanta's just give you a ticket or whatnot. But that's kind of the advantage of being in South America and some of these countries where the police are just like, all right, just throw me a little something and get there alone. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, even in 2020, when I was out there in Colombia, there were checkpoints, and they will work with some of the drivers, especially the taxis. They will work with them to make sure they drive through the checkpoint. Right now, at this time, they wasn't shaking us down for money unless they found something illegal. I remember one time they found like some blunts on us, but they couldn't find the other stuff. So they really know what to do, because they end up letting us go. But yeah, those checkpoints are pretty. They've been doing that for a while. They do it to everybody get it. But mostly they try to do it to foreigners, even foreigners from other South American countries. Now I want to ask you this, Esmond. So I've been seeing like a lot of talk on the internet. I'm not going to name any specific YouTubers because I don't want no beefs. No beefs 2026, so I'm not saying YouTubers. But they've been saying that it's all transactional if you are a foreigner in Medellin. All right, basically saying that there are no regular females or anything like that. It's all one thing. It's all transactional. What do you think about that?
I think they full of bullshit. That's not true.
That's not true.
Trust me, I wouldn't lie about something like that. You know what I mean? and first of all, if that was the case, I'm a single brother with no kids. I wouldn't be staying in a country like this. If it was straight transactional, every time I got ready to say hello to anybody, take them out, whatever it may be. Every year I have a mansion party in Colombia, by the way. My birthday is in September. This will be my 3rd annual. And I think I invited you to it, but I know you got way across the world, got other stuff going on. But I like when I had that because you'll get to see some of the people that I know that come up here and just have a genuine good time. I don't know if y'all don't know about this, but in Colombia they celebrate birthdays pretty major here. Like it's a big thing for them, even if it's not their special day. Just knowing that they're friends with someone that's their birthday, they kind of go all out. I've been invited to maybe, I don't know, 10 or so, but I throw a birthday party, and I of course have women come over. I have DJ, photographers, the whole nine, and no one's talking money. No one's saying, "Hey, for me to, go home with you," whatever it may be. The money's just not the case. We're just having a good time. Now, I will say if you're in certain parts where, freelance activity is going to happen, what do you expect? What do you expect? And most of the content creators, they don't go outside their sweet spot because they're coming out here. They know that they put some women or they put up some butts and some titties on their channel. They're going to get their viewers, subscribers, engagement, that whole nine. And I don't do that. It's easy work to me, and I don't need to do it to get more money, nothing like that. If YouTube never gave me a dime, I'll still be traveling where I want, when I want. I'm fortunate to be able to do that. I know some guys don't, but I can see why they say that because they're judging off their experience.
So they're talking about their particular experience.
Most guys do. So when I say that, hey, I'm with a chick right now who's like a good friend of mine. We haven't talked money, and I've known her for a year. They think I'm lying. And if you ever see me on Facebook, bro, what the thing I don't do, I don't copy and paste other people's videos and photos. I show you my experiences in real time, what I'm doing in this particular country. And I'll still get the flack because it's the internet. I get it. But I would say you got to understand how big Medellin alone is. It's nowhere in the world do you have more prostitution versus non-pros. That's just my theory, and that's just my experience. If you go out on a random day, you see all these people like say 10 to 12 a.m., say even like 70 in the morning time. All you see is women going to work with nursing scrubs on, and Karan he's friends with dentists and stuff. I mean, it's women out here that really believe in having a real occupation and not selling their body just for some money, even though they know it pays good. They still have whores and were raised better than that. And I meet so much more of them than I do the others. But for whatever reason, content creators say that I'm lying, and it is what it is. But that's just my take, my experience all these years, bro. Like I said, if it wasn't true, I would have no reason to defend it. I would just keep it real.
Yeah. I know a lot of people speak on their particular perspective. And it's just interesting to me because I'm hearing what they're saying to their audience, and that's fair. It's your channel. You can say what you say to your audience, but I'll just be in my head. I'm like, bro, you in Medellin, Colombia, on a Friday night, arguing with dudes on the internet about, like dumb shit about women of this, women of that. And I'm sitting here like, bro, I never did a live on a Friday night in Medellin. I was always out and about. Like I feel like Medellin is one of the best places to date, best cities to date in the world, personally. Me personally. Go ahead, Corey. I had to mute you a little bit, bro, because you got a lot of feedback. But go ahead.
Oh, is that you hear any feedback now?
I don't really hear when you talk, but when you don't talk, I hear a lot of feedback.
So I agree with what Esmond's saying and what you're saying, and there's a lot of individual perspective. And I'll tell you this: I look at things again with stats. Not everybody has the opportunity to fly out of their country. That's one. So let's narrow that down to a small bubble of people, including us. Now, inside that small bubble that's allowed to get the hell out of whatever country they come from, whether it be Europe or America or Canada or whatever first world, only 10% of the men get success with women. Even in today's day, you would say that, see those stats. When men go out at night, only 10% bag something, either a number or a chick, 10%. So we're looking at a real small population that getting to come over here to experience this or experience things in Thailand. So there's a high possibility in that small population that there is a lot of simps that get the little Weasley ass over here and can't bag a chick because they couldn't bag them anywhere where they came from. So now they're just sucking salt and salty because one, the arrogance doesn't allow them to even learn the language. So they're already handicapped from the time they walk off the plane. Then their whole energy and their whole put together is another set of handicaps. So when they realize they're still not getting any play, just like they weren't getting any play over there in the States, and some of them actually get less play here in Medellin than they do in the States because they don't speak the language. So then they go to the freelancers, and then they blame it on the freelancers and not hold themselves accountable that they're just lame and they're just some simps that had a very good opportunity to get outside and live in another country for more than a month. That's a rarity. And just that being a rarity is also a rarity to find a dude that have that and the skills to pull a woman and the skills to have the gift of gab. Not everybody have that whole collective. That's a rarity. So there's going to be a 90% chance that person is a failure. He gonna be failing from jump and gonna say, oh, well, most of medicine is transactional. ¿Cómo se llama? Huh? He don't even know Spanish. Nothing. Nada. And then they blame it on that because they're lazy, they're arrogant, they're insecure, and they have good opportunities and a little check in the pocket. That's what it really boils down to be quite honest. I talk to guys all the time. Same thing with Esmond. We meet them, come and go in, weekend warriors, 1 monthers, whatever. And 90% of them will go for the easy shot because one, they come in with the handicap of not being able to speak Spanish or the non-willingness to even learn it. I would hear some brothers say, oh, I don't need to learn that shit. I got money. You ever hear that before?
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah.
You must have heard some ignorant.
It ain't tricking if you got it, people. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just didn't grow up leading with wallet. I grew up leading with conversation because conversation ruled the nation. Like if any old school Memphis music is playing pimp shit. I ain't up, but I got tendencies, and I just growing up watching my uncles and surrounding families and friends. We would just talk to a Voodoo woman. You know what I'm saying? And stay in your. Don't try to shoot too high for it. You know, kind of meet your sweet spot with it. I do that out here, and I do it anywhere else. Now, have I met women that get for money? Of course. Like I ain't gonna sit here and act like it hadn't happened. But I don't be a fool or a liar to sit here and say that every woman I encountered had their hand out.
That ain't because that ain't true.
It's not true. I just want to play devil's advocate a little bit here, guys. Do a little, and any one of you guys can answer this. Some would say that you have an unfair advantage in the dating market because you do make USD. So your currency is stronger. In most cases, you might make 10 times as much as the person that you're dating. So how could it be a genuine relationship when you make so much more money than the person that you're dating? How do you all know that it's an intention to either get back to the States where they can make that type of money, or they know they can get their rent paid without any questions asked because you make so much money?
You already know time. Go ahead.
Well, you don't know. I mean, it's classism. It's socioeconomics. If you are middle class to middle upper, wherever you are, that's going to always be the question. Do my friends really like me for who I am, or because every time they come over, it's always going to be a cold bottle of Don Julio in there? It's going to be the same application with anybody, everybody, based on a socioeconomic fact. The only way you're going to find out that answer is if you give away all your money and you become poor to see if they really like you. And I'm not going to do that.
I agree.
They better pretend real good, because at the end of the day, I don't know what's going on in your mind, only what you present to me. So if you fake real good, I'm grateful for that. Just be a good actor, because you don't know who's acting.
Yeah, me personally, man, I always look at a woman's actions more than anything that comes out their mouth. Like, she coming through looking out for me. If I don't feel well, she taking care of me. If she cooking, it's just little certain things you can do to kind of vet them over time. But like I said, it's over time. The big issue I see is guys not spending a lot. I'm gonna meet you, Karan, because you got a little feedback there, bro. I'm gonna meet you. But the big issue I see is guys that don't live there full time, and that they go down there maybe a few times a year, and they end up sending money down there. Sending money to, I guess, take care of their girl, when the reality is, is everybody's girl. You know what I mean? So
right. I tell people, South America women, specifically in Colombia, have they run game better than game runners, like in the States. They have some of the best game, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of it because of their looks.
More game than women from Memphis and Atlanta. Because they got game. They got game where we from, bro.
Come down to the game that women can run. If you know game or just know the game, you know when someone's feeding you a bunch of BS. You can counter it or just get the hell away from it. I'm a real good counterer, you know what I mean? But I can see this goes back to Karan said about a bunch of simps and incel activity. You see it, you hear it more so than you see it. Like I said, I got a bunch of female friends, and we talk about guys from America, Canada, places in Europe that got them that give them allowances. You know what I'm saying? They give them a bi-weekly or monthly some type of pay to support a lifestyle or their livelihood. You hear about that, and they treat them well because you want to be good to your customers, right? You want them to keep spending in your business. So I get it, and I don't ever say why you doing that, why you playing with them, because at the end of the day, it ain't my business. You know what I'm saying? I understand completely. Everybody got to live out here and make money to continue living whatever lifestyle that they're living. But yeah, man, it happens. But guys just need to learn the hard way, I guess, because I have met a lot of dudes out here, mostly older dudes that got married, took them back in a month or two. They were split up, and it was like it never happened, and they're out of money, they're out of all kind of stuff, right? So it's going to continue to happen because you got.
I think you froze on me. You guys froze on me. Damn.
I'm good.
What happened?
I hear you.
Yeah, you still normal now.
Okay, we're good. My bad. I lost y'all for a second.
Right. But like I said, I was just saying it's going to happen. It's going to continue to happen, and these women know that, and they know that. Me and Karan talk about this all the time. They got a short window, and they know that. Colombian women, and I'm not trying to be offensive or nothing. They don't age the best. So these women know at a certain timeline, the age on their timeline. You better hope they would have had some damn good savings account to show for this nice living that they had provided to them.
I thought Colombian women age pretty good, man. It's attractive older Colombian women out there from my experience.
We still in these streets, man. You know what I'm saying?
And then you got the Afro Latino women too.
Yeah, well, they're gonna gracefully do what they do. And you don't see so many of them. A lot of them, what I've experienced, a lot of the Afro-Colombian women that I've met are in pretty good relationships. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them that I've met are taken. And yeah, man. I've met a lot of women out here. Like I said, we'll have a conversation. Like I've always respected a woman that asks me little stuff like, "What do you do?" Some women don't ask that. They just assume you got it going on and all that. And when you can have an intellectual, just one-to-one conversation, and they're actually asking me about my life and my family and all that, those are kind of like some indicators. Going back to your question, to know if a chick is, serious, really, really wanting to get to know you versus someone is just putting on that facade to get to stay in your pockets, basically. I've got some homegirls that I've known for 2+ years that have not asked me for anything like that. When I say like that, there have been some times where they may needed, an Uber ride somewhere because they just didn't have enough on their car or whatever. But it's never been nothing to the degree of, can you pay my rent, or my kids are hungry or whatever like that. These are, like I said, the true homegirls. I've met some women that just, they're going to feed you a BS story every freaking week until you block them. But I've just met more so good women than the ones that are not so good.
Oh yeah, them stories be, especially the DR. I'll be laughing my ass off at them stories.
Bro, man.
Especially when they show you the bandages that are being wrapped up and stuff, and some. Anyway,
do you ever hit them with their own, medicine, if you will, like feed them some BS too?
You know what? I did more of that in the States than anywhere.
Okay.
They say. Right. They'd be like, my cell phone off. I'd be like, damn, my cell phone about to get turned off too. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's always funny when you can play.
Yeah, man. Damn,
I got a joke.
Did y'all hear me?
I got a joke. There's real talk though. It's funny that he asked that. So
yeah, stream.
This one chick that I met, first time I came here. Oh, he gone already? Oh, his thing cut off. It's still live or he cut off?
Yeah, we're live. He'll jump back in though.
Yeah.
Chat.
Hold on.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, fellas. But I got a good question for both of you. You guys both live out there, man. How do you guys generally meet women in Medellin?
Honestly, anywhere. Supermarket, whatever, anywhere. You have to be, it's a little different when you're in a country where their language is not yours. So it takes a different kind of man with a little extra confidence, because even in your own country where you speak the language, a lot of times people still scared to talk to a woman. So now it's even like, well, I don't even speak the language, so even tougher. But it's just about
but you got that accent now too, though. Women love accents.
They can't tell the accent because they don't speak English. So to me, I'm
talking about if you speak in Spanish, you're gonna have a little accent.
Well, yeah, you got a little accent, but you just have to be brave enough. Like I was going to say just now, like I made a mistake and asked a chick for money in Spanish when my Spanish was terrible. But I said it the wrong way in the text, where it was like, could you send me some money? When I was asking her if I could send her some money if she need anything. And she thought I was asking, and she said, is anything okay? How much you need? I was like, what? She was ready to send me money. But I would have not known that if I didn't make the mistake to ask her for money without knowing. But that was kind of nice to see that she was still willing to help.
Right.
Just because she thought, Esmond, you on mute?
No.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. Yeah, but I was surprised. And I'm sure that must have happened to you too, Esmond. They brought stuff for you. They come and cook, all type of different things. And, it happens. It's about where you shop, where you go to get the people that you meet.
So do you do any dating online or anything like that, or
no,
bars?
I'm allergic to online, boy. I can't even do that, boy. My fingers start to go crippled when I go online. Okay.
Okay.
I'm a foot soldier. I love the interaction of realness, because it's too much of a process online. I want to know what you smell like, what you look like, what you sound like in 1 second. So I don't want to, elongate the thing. I could know that immediately on the street.
Okay. Esmond, how do you use these?
I'm about to say, it's just piggybacking on Quran. Supermarkets, gym, malls, sometime in your own apartment building.
I've been through that. Don't do that. I went through that a couple of years ago.
It's never going to be a happy ending with that going that route. Trust me. I've had the random knocking on my door and all that fancy stuff, if you will. But communication is key. I'm not fluent. I speak enough to slide on by, but once they get deep into it, I'm sometimes pulling out that phone or whatever it may be. But I probably got about 4 or 5 real good homegirls that speak probably English better than me out here. Born and raised out here, so I've gotten lucky.
That's another thing. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's another thing a lot of guys don't realize, that it is a good amount of women that you'll find in, like, let's just say, rooftop parties that speak English now.
Yeah.
Like I noticed that more and more. I know when I originally got down there in 2020 full time, when I first moved down there, it was like a sprinkle of women that would be at like a rooftop party that spoke English. But when I went back in 2023, I noticed that, damn, most of these girls speak English now. Right. So if you go to these little rooftop parties, like the Afro beach parties and everything like that, now you know that if they don't speak fluently English, they speak enough to kind of understand you.
If you go to party hostels out here, you're gonna meet a lot of them.
Oh man! Don't reveal the spots, man. Party hostels.
Don't say no name.
Ain't nothing like the hostels, bro.
I was staying here and I was like, man, I've done a lot out here, but I haven't experienced a party hostel. And I like hostels because you meet people from all over the world, and you don't meet too many people from the States. You're gonna meet, people from Netherlands and Germany. I just like, seeing how other people move and interact and all that. So it was just something I did for a weekend. I got a room for a couple of nights, and I met a chick that was Venezuelan Colombian. She was hosting, party hostels. They have like parties every night, like on the rooftop or whatever. She was hosting it on the mic. So one thing led to another with that. I just approached her and got to know her that night, because right after the party was ended at 12, they had the bar crawl that we did. So each bar that we went to, we doing shots, and before you know it, I don't think I got to explain the rest, right? So, but when I meet good women that communicate with me, and I know they're good women, they may have went through a recent breakup or still kind of sort of in love with a guy. I'm not going to try to, get in too deep with them. Those are like people I consider genuine friends. So the biggest way I'm able to get dates is through my local friends. Sometimes I can ask
the best way to do it.
Ask him, hey, I'm looking to meet someone nice, blah, blah, blah. If they don't speak English, it's not a big deal breaker, but do you know anyone that, I can maybe you can introduce me to, blah, blah, blah. Maybe y'all could be out at the club or just meet up at a dinner or something, and them introducing you to their friend is the easiest way that you can get a good, safe date with someone that's cool, because they're not going to hang around any knuckleheads.
And they do that. I ain't gonna say a lot, but they do that. That's like part of they I would say culture to a certain degree. They definitely will say, hey, I got a sister or a cousin that's single. Y'all can meet up, stuff like that. So they do that.
Right.
I want to give a shout out to my man, Good Time Grego. And a bit of shout out to Grego. I will talk to you in a minute, man. Oh man, those hostel days across the street from your old apartment, great times. I was mentioning my old apartment in Patio Benito. It was a hostel right across the street, bro, from my apartment. And we had like the dopest, just random parties there with Venezuelans and Colombians. It was like legendary. Right. A lot of people don't know about the hostel circuit in Medellin. And it's crazy because when you think about hostels and we grown men, you're like, man, nobody go to no damn hostel, man. I'm not, what I'm saying? Like, I got money. I don't go to no damn hostel. But it's not like that, though. Hostels is where people actually hang out at. My daily routine would be to, get up. I might hit the gym or something. And then during the day, it's not a lot to do if you're not, going to some type of tour or something. So what would you do? You would go where the hostel's at. You would go to the hostel and hang out at the hostel, like all day long. So, yeah, definitely.
People think also they think one big room with just 100 beds in there. First of all, there's a lot of hostels where you can get your own private room and private shower.
So you know about the game. So you putting out too much game, man.
I didn't know that. They just think what they think. No, you're right. I'm not going to go to a hostel where I got to share, 100 beds with people. I get my own stuff. Now, sometimes I make sure to shower. That's okay, but I like my own personal space, because you hear a lot about thieves and all kind of craziness. But back to what you said, BMT, there's been some times where I wasn't staying in a hostel, but you can still go, even though you're not staying there, and participate in some of the hostel activities.
I think we might have to go this weekend.
Like these hostels, they're all over South America. They got hostels in Rio de Janeiro, all throughout Medellin. And the hostel is like a community within the community, bro. They'll have like a pizza oven in there, a pool table, big screen TVs. They have all types of little activities and everything like that. So, yeah. And there's a lot of English speaking women in those hostels. If you catch my drift, you just got to make sure.
You just got to make sure they're not wearing them long sundresses and dirty tennis shoes. Because hey, listen. Don't do that one. The dirty tennis shoes and the long sundresses.
You know the wardrobe of most hostels attract backpackers. And you know their go-to wardrobe is the dirty Nikes or the open toe sandals with
the small backpack.
It is what it is. I more so will go to the hostel and meet the locals that are working at the hostel. That's right. So it's been working out for me. Whenever I want to try something new, hostels is always a good one.
Yeah, the hostel circuit, man, it's nice. It's definitely nice.
Right.
I had to run up in there this weekend and just do a little refresher course.
We can.
Yeah.
For those that are curious, Manila is like it's a town out here called Manila. So I don't know if it's
Esmond dropping Esmond dropping a lot of game, brother.
That's the whole blockade of hostile activity from left to right. It's just that's where you're gonna be in a whole nother world in Medellin. What's gatekeeping if y'all can't tell?
No need for gatekeeping.
No, you giving out really good information, bro. Right. Karan, you have a YouTube channel. Esmond got his YouTube channel. You have a YouTube channel as well?
No. I don't have a YouTube channel, but I do have Instagram from a company, Feel Good Teas. It's a lifestyle thing. It's about mantras like abundance and manifestations and belief in self and wellness, that kind of communal type of vibe, tribal kind of vibe. You know what I mean?
Okay, if you want to type it in the chat, I'll pin it. If you want to. Okay. Where is I was trying to find some old pics of the hostel days, but I can't find them right now. But yeah, Esmond dropping some real game, man. The hostel unit.
I've been home so long, I almost forgot, man. And like I said, I've been trying to plan. That's another thing I got coming up, man. I'm just partnering with Sweet Georgia's to start a charity out here for kids, and I want to do it legit. So I got to get all the forms and stuff together from the states to try to run it out here. But man, it's gonna be another good look for us up to no good passport bros, as they call it. You know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to change the narrative because you can't be confusing sex tools with passport bros. I can't allow that to go on too much longer. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And to add to his stuff, I'm also doing the same thing too, trying to find some sponsors for Venezuela. With the whole, with the good click that they had.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we have a purpose out here. We purpose-driven people.
Okay. So guys, we're coming up on an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and end the show. It's been a great informative stream. So overall, in your guys' assessment, you guys are saying that Medellin is still worth a trip in 2026, despite some of the issues with the migration, despite some of the issues with druggings and crime out there, in spite some of the, stuff as far as, I guess you would say, an anti-gringo, anti-foreigner, it's still working in 2026.
Of course.
100%. I wouldn't be here. Yeah, I'm not being held against my will here. I mean, I have property here, but I don't got to be here for this to still be standing. You know what I mean? So I don't see anything that's that crazy to the point that makes me be like, hey, let me just pack up and get up out of here.
Yeah. Like I haven't heard about, I don't know, Esmond, you heard about any school shooters? I don't hear about any school shooters, people going up in churches. I don't hear about police brutality against certain races. I don't hear about that over here. I hear about that over there.
Right.
But yet over there saying over here got more brutality, but come on, make it make sense.
Right.
That's a good point. Esmond, you want to shout out YouTube channel before we go?
Oh, yeah, it's my name. I don't know if you can see my name here. It's Esmond M.I.A. Just type it in just like that. And I appreciate all the support and love that I get. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, Esmond being humble about his channel, guys, but he got one of the dopest YouTube channels out there, bro. Esmond be everywhere. He been all over the world. Even one of my duck off spots, Cambodia, me and him, we linked up in Cambodia and Thailand, man. We got linked up in South America too.
Right.
Yeah, me and Esmond be having a good time, man. Having a good time.
Big playground, man. The world is a big playground. So we talk about the hot spots, we talk about the Colombias, DRs, and places in Asia. Man, it's so much world out there to explore. That's all I want to do is show you guys what God put out here.
Yeah, man. And I linked up with one of your not one of you, but your homeboy at Norville. That was a great trip as well. Great out there as well, man.
Norville's a special person, Karan.
That's my boy.
Right.
I like.
Oh, you know Novell too. Okay, yeah.
I was just over there in Thailand in January. No, I was in Philippines in January, Thailand in February. Yeah, and then I came back here in March.
Okay, so do you prefer Colombia more than Thailand?
I wish I could just mush them together.
Good point. That's a good point.
So, half my soul over there and half my soul over here. They kiss your ass more over there, but they have more ass over here. So it's kind of like, I don't know where to go. Oh, more here, they kiss more over there. Shit.
Yeah, man.
But I'll be seeing you, bro. After my birthday, I plan on shooting out back to Asia. I'll be keeping in touch with the DMT. I'll be right back out there, probably October sometime.
Okay, man. Well, guys, appreciate you coming on. Great show. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace out. Appreciate y'all.